All right. Good evening, good afternoon, and good day. It's almost getting noon here, so I can say probably good noon here as well. And Dallas, thank you all for joining us for the last couple of days. I think it's been fascinating learning over the last how many hours I've lost count now. It feels like we've been doing this forever, but time goes really fast. And as I said when I opened this third day of the summit about our journey and our ethos of hope, humility, and humanity. Cyber probably comes after humanity because we kind of invented it. Looks like, and it's trying to reinvent us. And especially during the pandemic, we have discovered things that we haven't before. But the whole idea of us serving the humanity is so essential to what we're building and going towards. In the last 2 hours are following the global cyber hour. We talked about two important topics, and each one of them can kind of weave into the other. The first one was third party risk management and supply chain security. That is so essential, not only in terms of large organizations but also smaller organizations that are part of this economic fabric. Uh, I first welcome you all. We're going to close off this hour with a little bit of recollection and reflection on the last 2 days that we went through, the learning that we had, and the amazing faculty. Now, probably everybody's inducted into this 2020 year, and the Cyber Future Institute. Would love to have your thoughts, not only during this session, but also continue on. This is as much of a reflection into the work that we had planned ahead and we are able to contribute forward, but also the challenges that lie ahead of us, and pause to think about those. In fact, one of the calls to action this morning was not to fast forward but to pause and think. Um, and in the morning we also had pretty broad representation from Singapore to Switzerland to San Francisco. We had everyone woken up, and except for Sydney, and I just let them sleep because they have done a fabulous job on day one kicking us off. Peter Dins did a really good job around risk management. So this hour, or what is left of here, we're going to talk a little bit about recap of the sessions. We're going to talk a little bit about our major initiatives that are going to quickly spring into action. Some of them actually are already active initiatives. We're going to now then hand it over to this great leadership team and our future leaders to plan for the future. And I think maybe just 5 years for now to look at things that we can do, but who knows what lies ahead in the next decade with 2021. Everybody can't get out of 2020 sooner, but I said just hold on because 2021 may have more surprises, right? Good or bad. So I'll do a quick recap of. I think Dave is waiting for us to get from the backstage to front, and let's see how to make go around the topics here. Um, I'll just go off of my recollection. I don't think I've even looked at the agenda anymore after being through this with the changes and not so many changes. So we kicked off the first hour with our friend Andrea here and Kalol and Leah who joined us, and along with our board. Um, uh, with the hope and humanity aspect, and in terms of also cyber first, that we turned around to human first and cyber next. With this, I think what we got to see is a lot of revalidation, but also a lot of learning. We've opened closely after the opening. We went to talk about the cyber capacity building. That was from a US perspective what we are doing. Mukta, a good friend and now a strong partner of building America cyber apprenticeship program. Announced the program. We're going to do a press release on that either today or Monday. But the news is already out. It's a 5-year program that we have been pulled into to support building America's cyber apprenticeship. Then, I mean, at that was a very humbling experience because we were able to, establish us amongst a lot of other, I would say, entrenched incumbents, or also those that are I respect a lot, but have been able to contribute so much towards this journey. But the future is ours to hold. So now we have been given the responsibility to do that. The second hour, we went to Israel. We looked at the cyber ecosystem and innovation ecosystem in Israel. That was a fantastic. I mean, the voice of Roy rings in my ear. I mean, he literally took it as a global stage, and the way he introduced Yoval was amazing. And then I think the entire crew went very intense, went through a very intense set of content in as precise manner. Probably I'd say Swiss clock, but there was Israeli clock on running. So please feel free to look at that session if you have missed. That's a fascinating session to look at. Then we went to UK. We spoke with our friends in UK. They spoke about the cyber ecosystem. We had a phenomenal panel who spoke about the different aspects that they have been working with and working towards. And one thing that stands out from the connection between the three countries that we just spoke in the first 4 hours was that everybody's trying to solve the same problems. They also have the same kind of baseline tools. But you know what stands out is the cultural aspect. I think that the national and the cultural aspect actually stands out. So we need a basic framework to make our work easier. And I think that is what we need to work towards, to make sure that we have a basic framework for addressing cyber capacity, both in terms of talent as well as automation, both going hand in hand, technology and human working together. If you see the logo of CFF, it's like, human forward and the word backwards. But let not those wares drive us. Let's drive those forward. So in the subsequent hour, we spent 2 hours on a very important topic that we're going to also probably touch upon now with Shivani, who worked on this session, on this particular project with us in the summer, along with Daria and Gunter, two of our other interns for the summer project. We touched upon a very intense, couple of points around how can we make cybersecurity accessible for small businesses. They are an essential element of the overall economy. In the US, it's 40%. In other countries, actually even more. And if you look at that, cyber industry has really left them underserved. And in this case, we picked up a certain partners that we can go along with. We are expanding that partnership. In this journey, we had Christian Todd, who very capably runs the Cyber Readiness Institute, has the mission of bringing cybersecurity awareness to 1 million small businesses, a lofty goal, and we are looking to partner with her and others in this journey to bring cybersecurity readiness for the small businesses. Those 2 hours were extremely powerful. Then we moved on to talk about the different aspects of cloud security and risk. But prior to that, we had this ransomware in public sector issue. And then we just came up with this resiliency hour where a particular sector of ours, friends there, are struggling with a certain ransomware that just went rampant in the US over the last 24 or 48 hours. In fact, coming into the cloud security and in cloud infrastructure panel, which was another fascinating panel, we had one of the speakers had to go out and address that risk and issue and then bring it to the others in the community. So another great connection there, specifically because and some of it was deliberately done. I put cloud security people along with critical infrastructure people who had not met before. It is not unusual for people to meet at Cyber Future Foundation Summit and in events for the first time. But this was really different. This was like, oh, what do we have to talk about cloud security? I'm not an expert. And the other person says, no, we are not we are not critical infrastructure experts. But that is the connection we need to make. We need those gaps bridged. And so I think people from that particular session were great takeaways. Finally, we ended the day one with a view of how risk management led to overall cybersecurity readiness and preparation in the APAC region, Australia region. Peter Deans just does a fascinating job all the time. He pulled a great panel. I think that would probably vie as with the Israeli hour in the morning in terms of the innovation and the thinking that has gone deep into the technical spheres from all the way up into governance, right? So all end-to-end visibility, and nobody does a better job than Peter in that aspect. So that was day one, really fascinating. We literally crashed after that. I don't think we have any memories between then and then starting off the day two. Day two was another very intense set of days. In fact, Catherine led a great part of the day. And along with that, in the morning, we kicked off with the India hour. Again, very humbling experience with having Dr. Durga Prasad Dubey, and leaders like Dr. Sanjay Baul joining us and sharing with the aspirations of 1.3 billion people, securing them and their lives. And as they're going through the pandemic, making sure that they're able to be connected, and they're also facing the same scourge of ransomware as we're facing in the US. Then we moved on to speak about the different issues and challenges that have been bugging us across the different sectors. And as we landed in the afternoon, we had a special session of, and I would say a repeat encore of the Canada Cyber Hour, which was fascinating because that hour really kind of sealed the deal as to the work that Catherine has done and led up to. Um, and walking into that, we had three very important sessions, and it kind of lead into that was critical infrastructure that Norma really led very very well, and we had the privacy session and the cyber law session that Bob does a fascinating job in a kind of an energized conversation. Those three sessions led into the Canada Hour, where we talked about innovation and enabling ecosystem. And this is where I welcome our Catherine here into this team to not only take us forward, but also give us the ability to scale right internationally. Then on to that, I think we had the CEO forum, which was extremely important discussion to have, where we had a look into how can tech sector enable economic recovery, and cyber is such an essential part of both economic recovery as well as securing tech. We closed the day with with the higher ed sector, and I particularly pulled in higher ed, just coming even into this session, this summit. We talked about higher ed specifically because that is where the future lies. And in fact, probably Shivani will vouch for that. Working and learning from remotely from home and missing the classes and all, such a great difference it makes, right? So we have to do it right by them, by our future leaders, and make sure they have the ability to learn as we live through this pandemic. Young or old doesn't really matter at that point. We then that was a very intense third day, and then I recounted what we had today, the third three sessions leading up to this hour. So a phenomenal experience for me, learning, and then as well as the community. I hope it was the same for the audience. And this recap probably will serve you to go back and check on those sessions that you have not been able to be part of. I know you're struggling between work, life, family, being a parent, being a teacher, and all around. But I hope that you are able to come back to these sessions. It will be available on the CFF Live channel on YouTube. I know, Andrea, you pushed some of the content already. We're going to process this content, make it available as soon as we can, probably in the next couple of days. So with that, I know I'll be respectful of the time that we got here. The next 40 minutes, we'll do a little bit of look into or forward of our initiatives that we currently have. And we'll go in the order of the time, probably priority, right? So Catherine, I know you have to go in the next 10 minutes. So I'll switch it over to you. You have done a phenomenal job. Let me recognize and applaud the work that you have done in the last 3 months that we haven't really got done. And I can't wait for recognizing others. I mean, I have Leah here, Kalol, and all the others that have been helping us through this journey. But Catherine, you have been the front and center. So please share with us what you want us to do to support you, the work you are doing, as much as we seek support from you.
Well, thank you very much. And like I said, this has been a huge honor for me to be part of this community. And one of the reasons why I sought you out was, the work that we were doing in Canada, which, albeit was very important. I think the gap that we felt, or I felt, and some of the folks that I was working with, was what we weren't really plugged into a larger community, a larger dialogue. One thing that's resonated for me over the last 3 days, and I kind of use the hashtag "we're all in this together," and that's kind of the hashtag that we saw during the pandemic, referenced quite a bit. But that was something that resonated with me front and center over the last 3 days. As you listen to the panelists and to countries, you realize that cyber is a very global, very inclusive issue. and opportunity. And that's what I want to kind of emphasize, or my approach to it is we have to look at the issue, but we also have to realize that there's tremendous opportunity. And, that was some of the feedback that we got from the Canada panel afterwards. Was one of the panelists said to me, I actually found it like almost going to counseling. And I said, well, what do you mean by that? She said, my impression of Canada and who we are and what our value proposition is in terms of innovation and cybersecurity completely changed in that hour. I got a very clear view and perspective on who we are and what we have to offer and to bring to that table, which I thought was fantastic. Going forward, I think it's just, the frustration that kind of I heard from, and I referenced this in the leadership session from Governor Tom Ridge, where he said, why we've spent millions of dollars and hours admiring the problem, but very little time and money addressing the problem. And I don't think it's necessarily all money that needs to be to address the problem. I think it's more of a bringing folks together. So, some of the conversations that I've had with leaders that were on the CEO session has been very encouraging in terms of what can we do to help. We've got 3 or 4 folks since we did the sessions that have said, tell me how I can get more involved in CFF. So that's really what I'd like to see us continue to do and have that contribution, because I think it's collectively, there's a lot of things that we can do and accomplish if we're all aligned on the same vision.
Excellent. Thank you, Catherine, for spearheading that effort. I think, follow-throughs and follow-ups are absolutely necessary when we have a reach out like of this nature, global reach out. And that is where we need a full team. I'm glad that we have you on the team. So thank you so much. Next, let me move on to an important piece of work we're getting started on. And this is where I'll pull in probably Shivani and Kallol. Kallol is always very shy about, coming and speaking about the work he does with us and for us. But I think without the two of them, we couldn't have just even started to scratch the surface of the small business problem. And I really want to get a sense of, Shivani, give you the opportunity first to talk about your experience, maybe a couple of minutes, and then Kallol, what we are looking to do to enable this.
Hi, everyone. Okay, so just really quick, I'm currently a sophomore at Wharton and the engineering school. Just for a little background about me. So this summer, I got the chance to work with CFF and work under Val, and it was an incredible experience. I mean, I want to say I knew I knew a little bit about cyber coming in, but I had no idea the scope of cyber or the potential scope of cyber in small businesses. I think about 99.9% of business in the U.S. is attributed to small businesses, and at that, I think even small business owners themselves aren't exactly aware of the cyber risk that they're faced with. I think around 80% of them weren't aware, and something around 60% of small businesses fail in the first 6 months because of a cyber risk, and that is such a significant number. And I think that's such an important thing that we have to address. And I got to do a lot of work with compiling a comprehensive program that is to address this, essentially with a business kit, a tech kit, like multiple kits, all for
very well. And thank you for the work that you did, Shivani. I mean, I think it's our good fortune that we are able to identify young leaders such as you, and I always address them as young leaders because that is where what you will become, whether you want it or not. I think you've got the talent. So all the best to you, and to Daria, who couldn't join us today, Gunter. You'll probably also get to know and learn from our friends, Nick and Spencer, who have been. So a couple of minutes, Kallol, how are we looking to take it forward? There is some tech aspect as well, and enabling the small businesses. So,
absolutely. Thanks, Val. First of all, I would like to thank the whole team here, as well as to you for giving us this opportunity to be part of this foundation. It was really an honor to be part and working with the great leaders like you all. For this, we have heard a lot of issues throughout the summit about the small business, the security as whole. As a next step, I think what we need to do, there are a lot of documentations and there are a lot of, I would say, reading materials available. But how you can add or glue the reading materials to the assessment, and also taking them through a journey where we, with that reading material, the assessment, they do self-help kind of stuff. What next? That answer is still a little bit gray, and as I think that will be a niche initiative from our end if we can put all of those efforts all together and come up with a complete product offering for the small business, which they can actually use it for their day-to-day operation. And that's, I think, where we will be looking forward to it, Val.
Excellent. I think we already did a great start, Andrea and Dave and the community leadership who are listening to this haven't and will be slowly getting awareness of the build out of this. I think we're building a pretty comprehensive program. It's not just a tool or a solution. I think it's something that we need to support the community with. So that is something that I wanted to share with you and we'll bring forward. This is a commitment. Whenever we have made a commitment, we want to make sure we make it publicly so we're accountable to that and we finish it through. So that brings us to get Leah on the stage. And this is another commitment that we made almost 3 years back in terms of supporting and helping cybersecurity capacity development, capacity building, and talent development. And this is where Leah jumped in. You can believe in, we don't know each other for more than we know each other for probably more 6 months or so, maybe less than that. We got introduced during pandemic, and she jumped ship from a very, I'd say mature organization from an industry perspective to a 5-year-old nonprofit to help us with this journey. And that is to fulfill a commitment that we have made to our community that will help and support cyber capacity building. So, Leah, a few words on what you're planning to do and how you can make it to action.
Yes, thank you, Val. And it's great to be here with all of you and to be a part of the organization. I can't express how excited and honored I feel to be part of it. So thank you. And I look forward to working more with all of you as leaders and experts. And to, I think, Val's point and many of the discussions we heard this summit, as well as what Andrea said and Catherine and others, that, it truly takes a village and people to solve for cybersecurity problems, and also connecting people where maybe they don't often cross paths or come into conversation with each other in their worlds throughout all of technology and cybersecurity. So as part of that and the initiative that we are forging ahead with in partnership with Software Partners and Department of Labor is really focusing on building out that cyber curriculum of the future and the training that is needed so that people of all walks of life and those who even want to upskill in areas, as Val mentioned earlier, some said, well, I don't have cloud background. Well, they can, and it can be cloud security background. So we want to we will be focused on building out that training and curriculum, pulling in, everyone as partners from the industry and all of you that are attending today and also here in this panel to really make it a collaborative effort and ensure that we have the curriculum that makes sense and are giving opportunity to those to upskill and go through if they're changing careers or changing paths and want to enter into the world of cybersecurity. We know that the shortage in the skill sets and talent is real and that the jobs are plentiful and there's a big need. And as long as we've got those bad actors out there, there will be. So we will be focusing on the training, getting them through that, and working in collaboration with many people, employers, universities, et cetera, to make sure that we are filling the jobs with the talent that's required.
Excellent. Thank you, Leah, for taking on that leadership role for building our partnership and collaboration in the industry. I think we are already on the right footing for many of the asks that DOL has made, and those will serve as the foundation for the work that we do looking forward. So with that, let me pivot to the leadership group here, and we have Dave and Andrea join us. They have been observing and also contributing to the entire program to make sure that we are able to, share our story and also share others in the community their stories through our platform. So I'll turn it over to Andrea. Welcome again to the board and also next year's journey and the journey ahead. How we will look forward to you for your guidance in terms of how to take it forward. Again, accountability wise, I believe that's how we are trying to establish a forum for you. You have been contributing to the ESG T plus T. I mean, at the top level. I hope we have the same amount of accountability built into this organization that we can take it forward for the longer haul. So, Andrea, thank you for joining us here.
Well, thank you so much, Val and Dave and the rest of the leadership team and board. It's really an honor to be part of this organization. I didn't expect to be on the board. I thank you for bringing me to the board. Either way, I would have been involved, as you know, because I think that what CFF has been doing in the last 5 years, and I've been involved for maybe about 3 years, is really unique, and it's wonderful, and it's necessary, and it's something that, there should be more CFFs out there doing things for some of the things that are going on in the world that are very challenging. And as Catherine said, it's not just an issue or a risk, it's an opportunity. And I think the thing that's beautiful about CFF is that we're all putting our positive, constructive energy into solving the problem as an ecosystem of people. We're sort of a little microcosm of what should be going on in the rest of the world right now, of collaboration, different kinds of people, different perspectives that all have their eyes focused on this big fat problem that we have to solve. And it has so many facets and so many different aspects to it. And it's rapidly changing, and it touches everything. It touches us personally, as workers, as students, as members of a community, as citizens. We're here in this election right now in the United States, and cyber is one of the big topics that we're concerned about. And so it's going to take not just a village, but multiple villages and international collaborations, just like we're having here. And one of the things that I really loved about the last 3 days, and unfortunately I couldn't attend everything, but thank goodness you have it all on tape and we can go visit the YouTube channel. But one of the things I really loved about the last few days are the international groups of people talking. The national groups, Canada, Israel was fabulous. A couple of others. India was great. I attended that one. But also the international one, which I didn't attend this morning, which I plan to view. Having so many different people with this positive attitude of solving to this issue with their unique qualities and capabilities, including the young people who are interns, which is absolutely wonderful. And I thank them on behalf of myself and everybody else for all the great work that they've been doing behind the sines, and Kalal and Leah and Catherine. So many people are giving so much of themselves. And Val, I want to tip my hat to you because you're a fearless and wonderful leader, and you're inspiring all of us to really follow suit, even if it's sort of a crazy situation, right? Crazy in the sense that there's so much going on and we all have day jobs, and yet we're here and we're doing this, and so are you. And I don't know when you sleep, but all that said, I feel very excited about the next 5 years. I think there's so much work to be done and so many great people that we're going to get some great things done. And I just want to end with one last thing. It's great that we're not just getting together to educate each other, which is a great goal in and of itself, but there are these practical offshoots that are now happening. The training of workers initiative and the small business initiative, both of those things are so concrete and so important and so impactful that I'm really excited to see what happens and what else we can do together in the near future. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Andrea. Thank you so much for your guidance, for your friendship, and for your support, and those that you inspire to do the same. I think we are here to set not only lofty goals but also long examples for ourselves and others. So thank you for joining us and then on this journey. Well, what a way to close the hour. I am so glad to see someone that I was hoping I would see sometime in this hour. But Harold, brother, welcome to this session. And I know you have been watching I know that we are all dealing with certain challenges that we all have on our personal lives, each of us. I think this is just incredible that we are all still able to make it. So hopefully you're doing well.
Absolutely. Feeling good. I was on another weekly call, and so I wasn't thinking. I joined from the audience, so I've been listening to everything that's been said, and I couldn't be happier. To welcome Andrea. I'll just never forget the bus trip that we had the first time we spoke. It was just this instant connection. I just was just so enthralled to hear of your story of a mentor. The man that literally changed the direction of your life, set you toward the goals that you really aspired to, and had some setbacks, and he just got you there and probably further than you ever imagined, and all from the power of just one influential mentor in our lives. And that's what we've been talking about for a couple of days now, is how do we give back to the world in this way that we can, in the places that we've been placed, with the people that we've been placed with, to accomplish great things. And under the leadership of Val and Dave, and now bringing in you and Diana, Sean, so sorry he couldn't be with us, but I'm just very excited about the plans that we've whiteboarded it out, and we've been doing some really great things. But I anticipate that 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, we won't even be able to believe what we're seeing and what is being accomplished, and the good effect that we're going to all have, not just ourselves, but with all of those that we bring into the boat to help us row. Everybody grabs an oar, and we get in the right sync with each other, and we can go anywhere we want. And I'm just so pleased at how this virtual, because we all thrive in the person to person interaction, and these are they're so segmented, and you don't have that opportunity to just sit in a bus seat beside someone that you've never met before, and realize that over the next couple of years you're just gonna connect at a level you would have never anticipated. So, but that being said, this virtual, I'm going to say, has been, I think, the most dynamic, because I've been on a couple of other large organization multi-day conferences, and boy, there were lulls, and there have not been any lulls in this one. They have all been great when I've been able to join. I've had some other appointments that I've had to make, especially yesterday. So anyway, just so pleased at how this is closing, and on a very positive note. And I think that we have I think that we have some more adherence now as a result of this conference to the mission, and that's always very important. I think that's as much our goal now is not just to do things out there, but it's really to gather a larger community, because the more diversity of opinions, the more diversity of viewpoint and perspective and talent, skill set, the more insightful we're going to be as an organization. So Welcome, Andrea. So glad you're here. I got my brothers. You're my sister.
And I've got my brothers too. But we also have a sister.
Yes, Diana. I guess she's probably teaching or something right now.
Right. Yeah. She got busy, and Sean got busy. But again, that is why I think we need a team always, right? We need a team to kind of carry on the mission. We'll all be busy, and we are all kind of, this is a top to bottom. Is a top to bottom volunteers organization, has been probably, as with Leah joining us and Nick joining us, we'll probably have a little more cadence to a full-time commitment, and that is the ask of the hour right now. I think the community needs to have more commitment, committed people working full-time, which is going to be great. But this is a great first step. First 5 years was building while flying the engine, and then now the wings appear, tails appear, bodies appear, and people start filling in, right? So with that, let me turn to Dave. Dave, you have been observing this summit, and we have been chatting in the back end, how things are going, and all your reflections on what we could do. Better. I think everybody's talked about how exciting this has been. I don't want to dwell on just that, but your wise counsel on also how to take it forward and make the best out of the time we got from all the people that have contributed here. Right.
Sure, Val. Thanks. And let me start off by saying, Andrea and Diana, who's not with us at the moment, of course, but we're so honored that you are part of our team and part of our board, and we really genuinely look for your sage advice and counsel as we move forward, as we get into the next generation of this wonderful program that both Harold and Val were. I consider myself very lucky to be part of, thanks to them. And Val and to Harold, both of you guys have put an extraordinarily amount of time in putting this together, as you do every year. And so we owe both of you a debt of gratitude, not only for the time and effort that you put in here, but for the absolute amazing speakers, the panelists, the moderators. As year 5 comes to a close, I truly, humbly believe that this has been our best, albeit most challenging in that virtual space. And as Harold, as you indicated, we're all people persons, right? We love to be able to do this in person versus virtually, but I really don't think it could have gone any better in many respects. When you think of this COVID-19 challenging time that we're facing, to bring forth subject matter experts in this cyber field from, I'll mention a few from Israel, from the UK, from India, from Australia, from Canada, from Singapore, Germany, Italy, and I'm sure I'm Switzerland, and I'm sure I'm leaving out a few, not to mention all the wonderful industry people and partners that we brought in from the United States and our friends and whatnot. This has been nothing short of remarkable. And to the many attendees that were watching live or maybe seeing this from a recorded form of fashion, I can't help but to think you will come away better, smarter, just having more experience, having listened to and experienced the expertise of the moderators and the panelists. And so, Val, I say all that to say, although we put all this together from a virtual standpoint, it may not have the grandeur of the first 3 years of doing this at the President Bush Library Auditorium at SMU, or having the beautiful Swiss Alps behind us. I really think this was tremendously impactful, and I see what you see from the perspective of a lot of real positive comments and really strong accolades on all the different panels. So it's been a wonderful ride as we culminate this 5th year. I personally am so excited for the future. I mean, being a futurist and having witnessed this journey with Harold and you, Val, I can't wait for the next 5 years. And something that resonated with me personally is what Tom Patterson's call to arms, if you will, of where we need to be at the end of this journey, or the end of getting into the 2030 space. If that doesn't resonate with everybody who's participated in this, I don't know what will. From a collaborative standpoint, I really think that we're all going to have to contribute. We're all going to have to. We are all challenged, and as futurists, we want to see the greater good of this ecosystem come into play, and it will, as I think Andrea mentioned earlier, take the entire community. It'll take this entire community and then some. And then if you catapult that into what we're trying to do with Safal partners and educate our next generation, bring forth individuals that can take lessons learned and make this a better space, cyberspace in the future. I think that's the goal for all of us. And I hope and I trust that our many partners out there will help us in this journey of educating and bringing forth the educational element that is so needed, as has been so articulated over the last few days. So as we move forward to looking ahead to whether it's 2030 or 5 years from now, let's continue to chip away and continue to make an impact, so that at some point in time we have thwarted the potential of any wrongdoing within the cyberspace, and we're building that continued trust as we move forward. So Andrea, Val, Harold, Sean, if you get a chance to see this, and Diana, look, I'm so honored and humbled and grateful to work with you guys and the many others that have participated as attendees, panelists, and moderators. And thanks to all of you for putting on a tremendous summit for the last 2.5 days. Back to you, Val.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Dave. Thank you, Harold. Thanks, Andrea.
Val, let me interject something here, and this is not for this session right now, but this is for all those who will be watching this on a recorded, whether it's Facebook or our YouTube channel. If you've heard this, if there's anything that has resonated with you about the mission, about the organization, I would encourage each and every one of you to think of ways that you personally or your company can participate. What could you contribute? If you have products or services that you think are worthy to be promoted, and I don't mean from a product pitching. I just mean that will help solve the problems out there. Again, just participating in forums and discussions, and when we start meeting live again, having those hallway discussions, having that question and answer with the panelists as we're doing that. We want you. We need you. We must keep growing this, or we won't be able to keep pace with the adversaries, with the bad actors. So think of what you can do, and there's no contribution that's too small to be important. There's no contribution that's so big that it would co-opt what we're doing. Large, small, medium. contact, reach out to any one of us and share your ideas with us. And we will, every one of us will be really happy and pleased to talk with you and plug you in. There's a place for everyone. So thanks, Val.
Thank you, Harold. Thank you, Dave. And thank you, Andrea. I think the inclusivity of this program and the collaboration of our foundation's collaborative spirit is what we thrive on. When we reach out to someone, it's not that we want something from you, but what we want to give you and give your gift to others, right? I mean, that is the gift of giving that we all thrive on. And this whole spirit of Cyber Future Foundation has leaned on. So next couple of years are going to be extremely critical for us to actually deliver on some of the promises we have made. I think we have just got onto that journey. For the first one for cyber capacity building, many who joined this panels and this program are actively contributing. They are not just here to just show up and go. And I think that is the spirit that we all lean on in terms of making sure that we can deliver what we have promised. It's not us alone. I mean, if you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, you go together. Right? And that is the spirit that we kind of embrace. So on a Friday afternoon, evening, or late night that you have tuned into, one of the things that I think you'd probably love to is kind of getting done early. We couldn't have done earlier, but this excitement and momentum will continue on. But if you can, this is the time to say goodbye for now, but also welcome to tomorrow. I hope all of you have a great weekend. This has been a pretty great, end of the Cybersecurity Awareness Month. We usually start Cybersecurity Awareness Month in the first week of October, but this is a great way to end a milestone and also move on to the next one. All that we have committed to ourselves and to this community is ours to deliver together and around the globe, build that trusted community that we all thrive on and rely on. So please take a moment to pause, reflect, and move on to the next journey and milestone. This is not the end, but the beginning of another new chapter. So thank you all for who tuned in. We all acknowledge the comments and contributions you have made. We will also lean on you for your active support as we move forward. Thank you. Take care. God bless. Be well.